So, welcome back, guys. It's Tim and Toby again, doing another historical military history discussion. We're going to do a kind of a mini-series talking about the discussion of the rise and fall of, basically the rise of the German, new German Empire, the Nazi Germany, and then the fall of Nazi Germany. So basically, 1933 to 1940. Roughly 1942. Then second episode will be the fall of Germany, 1942 to about 1946, roughly. So without further ado, I'll start. So just picture this: June 1919, specifically 4 years to the day, the 28th of June 1919. The First World War has a treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, and all the Allied powers, well, including Britain, France and America, what's called the Big Three, the main kind of big powers, in a nutshell wanted really to disarm and dishonest and disown what Germany had done to the French land and to British and Allied soldiers. So you're basically looking at, in the Treaty of Versailles, the German military disarmament organisation, or the kind of what the rules were given to the Weimar Germany at that period, because on the 9th of November 1918, Germany basically collapsed. The Kaiser Wilhelm, the Kaiser of Germany at the time, Imperial Germany, he abdicated, so he fled. So basically that was it for Germany. So basically the what do you call it, kind of the rules that Germany had to go with after the signing of the treaty was Germany could only have and arm 100,000 men, could only have 100,000 men, could have 6 naval vessels, and no airplanes. Well, that's what the Allies thought when pen was put to paper. But if we think, through the 1930s, specifically up to 1933, which, technically January, February time of 1933. Well, I'll let Toby explain on this one. Toby?
Yeah, we really didn't think that they would do what they did end up doing. They ended up really just rearming themselves in quite an extensive way, very, very, very quickly, much quicker than I think anyone really anticipated. And by the time we did finally work out more or less what was afoot, then it was too late. They had already, taken Czechoslovakia, Austria, and then therefore invaded Poland.
Yeah. So, just going back a little bit there, Toby. So, 1935, Germany, by that point, had got a brand new air force, the Luftwaffe, brand new fast-moving tanks, known as Panzer tanks, and then had basically over 1 million men in the German armed forces, the Wehrmacht. And this was absolutely groundbreaking technology in 1933, Adolf Hitler came to power. Especially January, March time, he was the leader of Germany, and basically he set aside on ignoring the Treaty of Versailles, altogether reversing everything. So, kind of between 1920 and 1933. Germany didn't really do much in the way of rearming, but by early 1930s, Germany had secretly put in basically a massive change of artillery pieces, because the Treaty of Versailles basically says, oh, you can't service and manufacture new weapons, but the Germans were very cunningly thinking that, well, if we get some old weapons and just upgrade them, that'll be fine. That's not in the rule. So that's what they did. That's why Mauser rifles, artillery pieces, things like that, basically were original, but then upgraded in the late 1920s, early 1930s. Where was I? So yeah, Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933. By 1936, March 1936, Germany and the brand new German Empire, or really Nazi Germany, National Socialist German Workers' Party is what Nazi stands for, had entered the Rhineland. Basically, really, Hitler got much more powerful, much more stronger by then, much more confident in what Germany could do. And if you remember, Toby, one British kind of consultant in the war cabinet all kind of snuffed it away. He said, oh, it was just like Germany walking in their own backyard. It was so easy, you know. France, on the other hand, couldn't do anything about it because they were so weak during the war. From the last war, and economics and everything. So really, this was kind of the best time for Hitler's Germany as a whole. As you were going to say, Toby, on to you.
Yes. So coming back on to stuff like the rearmament, really, you do see, like as Tim was mentioning, a lot of kind of almost backdooring of the rules going around in very unorthodox ways. So, for instance, the very famous German pocket battleship, or Panzerschiff, the Graf Spee, that was part of a series of, called the Panzerschiffs, which were pretty much designed to just circumvent the Treaty of Versailles, because they weren't over the tonnage limit, as were the Schnellboats.
Yeah.
They're kind of motor torpedo boats. They were just designed really to just be below the limit, but very, very dangerous. And then, again, even after that, you end up with Germany. This is one thing that always surprises a few people, is Germany and Russia. So, Germany and Adolf Hitler really hated Russia and communism, and they were both two murderous regimes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in the 30s, Germany actually sent some of their scientists to Russia to develop tanks, which were then tested in Russia.
Yeah.
And then used again later on in the 40s against Russia.
Yeah. So Stalin, well, not really Stalin himself, but Russia and communism were even as early